Ooh, Navios. This is one of the most interesting and complicated oil tanker companies that I've looked at so far. So let's get into this. This is Brian Lewis with MMT Investing, and things just changed. So Navios is is really complicated because they do coal and grain and oil, and they have different divisions of their company with different ticker symbols that do product or refined. Or let's just look at this. So NNA, that's Navios Acquisition. That's the one we're looking at here, and that is their tankers. And they also have NM, and they have NMM. That is their dry shipping, like coal and grain, and their shipyards. But their tankers is NNA, and this is Navios Maritime Acquisition Corp. That's Navios's tankers, and they have been above 150 in the not too distant past. What's around 2009? If you count this little green dot here, they've been above 150 or close to it, and it looks like a more steady price is maybe around 45, and they've gone up and down between like 120. Let's get forward into our current day. Where are we? 2019? Okay, almost there. Okay, here we go. So, okay, so they've been on a downtrend. March, let's see, Feb. Okay, they've been on a downtrend coming into the crash, and yeah, okay, so they've been trending around $6 and headed down into the crash, and their high at 2009 was 150, and now let's take this auto off so I can zoom in on this guy. All right. Okay, so let's do a little recap. In a Navios Maritime Acquisition, that's their tankers, and those tankers are not all crude tankers. They have about 30 tankers, and they have chemical tankers, and they have refined oil tankers, and then they have exactly 10 VLCC very large crude tankers right now, and 3 more on order, and they're all named things like the Galactic and the Universe and the Quasar and the Pulsar. All their boats are named like that. So these guys are in the Mediterranean, in Monaco and Greece, and they always smash that like button right now to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. So about a third of this tanker company is actually oil tankers, and it is good that they separate, kind of like the TK, the TN, TNK. The TK Tankers is a separate ticker symbol. It's a separate company than like TK's shipyards or their natural gas. And this company does the same thing. Like their coal and their grain shipping is a separate ticker symbol from their tankers. But unlike TK, these tankers are not a bunch of crude tankers. Only 1/3 of these tankers are crude oil. And I don't think that they can use the chemical or the refined oil tankers to store crude. I'm not sure. And then let's take a look at the crash. Feb. Yeah, here. Okay, so we get the dead cat and the crash, and then we get the bull trap. This is what the S&P did. Here's what they did during that time. So roughly sideways and pretty volatile and crazy. They got a tiny up on the dead cat, and then they got the double up on the bull trap that all these tanker companies seem to have been doing, and most of them look like they've already turned over in advance of the bull trap turning over, because we just hit new highs overnight on the bull trap. And okay, so it looks like they're relatively stable. Like they didn't pull down towards the lows like a shipping company did. I mean, they're staying kind of up, and then they bounced really hard here. So I think these guys are interesting. I wouldn't be interested, and this is not investment advice, but I would not be interested in holding these guys as a long. But this is another company to look at on the ups during the cycle. So we have a 3 or 4 month credit contraction cycle here, and we're about halfway or a little over halfway through that cycle. So I'm expecting a down in the very near future, and then I'm expecting a dead cat and another bull trap double up for the tankers in maybe a week, or for this one, or three weeks or so to start the bull trap. And so I think these tanker companies are very interesting on the up moves, and I think they're going to come down with the stock market on the down moves. And this one is not quite as volatile as the other companies, and it is getting the hype, but I think I'm less interested in this than several of the other tanker companies, because there's a bunch of tanker companies that are 100% tanker fleet, not 1/3 of their fleet. And I think this one kind of gets watered down, and it's pulling down. It's not going up as a general trend. So still interesting on the ups, and then they should still do good when the credit contraction reverses into a monetary expansion phase, whenever that is, in a couple months. So that's a look at Navios Maritime Acquisition, NNA, as their tankers. And yeah, all right, that's good enough. This is Brian Lewis, and not investment advice. Please hit the like button, and happy trading.